Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. The Demon Hunter nerf that came with the Battlegrounds Duos patch has had some effect on the standard meta, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the top 13 best Hearthstone decks that you can play and climb all the way to Legend right now. And coming in at number 13 we have Sludge Warlock. And Sludge Warlock has not changed since the first day of the expansion, first day of the new expansion. Doom Gods were added in the Sludge Warlock deck and it's still doing perfectly fine. Some people are taking in some speaker stompers, might be temporary, might be going to be a good tech choice in the future as well. But in the main, if you don't play it as a tech version, be ready for a more varied meta, then this basic version with Doom Gods is still a perfectly fine deck and capable of reaching slightly above 50% win rate on the ladder. And at number 12 we have Zilliax Rogue, which is one of the least interactive decks on the ladder, because you have Zilliax that's in stealth and that's going to get double attack every turn, and either you get rid of that or you kill Zilliax Rogue or Zilliax Rogue is going to kill you. So this is the ultimate evolution of Mech Rogue for this card pool and this meta. Yeah, it's not quite the same Mech Rogue experience that we used to have, but this is what we've got right now. Number 11 is Highlander Warrior. Warrior decks are still doing fine on the ladder overall, but they just don't have such a clear target like they used to have Aggro Demon Hunter, which was plentiful and warriors were preying on that, but now they don't have such a clear great matchup. They have a bunch of decent matchups, then a couple of weaknesses, a couple of good matchups, but nothing truly special. Highlander Warrior lists overall have not changed much at all. Again, Speaker Stomper is seeing some use as a tech card, but other than that, Highlander Warrior has not really changed much overall. Number 10 is Plague Death Knight. Plague Death Knight is not having a great time on the ladder right now. It is still strong against Warrior, both against Control variant and against the Highlander variant. It's strong against any Highlander decks that would dare to venture out to the ladder, although there are not that many Highlander decks out there right now. And Plague Death Knight also, there is one of the loner decks of Plague Death Knight, so that's a pretty reasonable choice. Lots of new or returning players are playing Plague Death Knight. Lots of people enjoy the Plague Death Knight playstyle. So Plague Death Knight is a little bit overrepresented on the ladder, which also hurts Warrior a bunch, even though Plague Death Knight has a chunk of bad matchups and many of those are some of the current top tier decks. Number 9 is Control Warrior, which is faster. Just cycle to your Wing Edition, get that Odin out there and smack people in the dome with all of your armor turned into attack. And Control Warrior now is slightly better than Highlander Warrior, with the Demon Hunters largely away from the ladder, so Highlander Warrior's small advantage in that matchup no longer counts, and Control Warrior is just faster to get to the kill. That said, Aggro Demon Hunter may be down, but it is not out. Umpire's Grasp was nerfed to 4 mana from 3 mana, that was the latest balance patch. And that hurt Aggro Demon Hunter. Aggro Demon Hunter numbers collapsed on the ladder, and it has a number of weak matchups now. Like previously, only Warrior was keeping it at bay, but now stuff like Token Hunter and Rainbow Death Knight are also favored against Aggro Demon Hunter. It has just lost its edge. But it still has a number of good matchups as well. Decks like Pain Warlock, Sludge Warlock, Plague Death Knight. Aggro Demon Hunter is not dead. You can still perfectly well play this deck, but you can expect that your performance is going to be mediocre. Wheel Warlock also remains a playable deck. It has gained some and lost some with the balance changes. Flood Paladin is a newcomer on the ladder that looks pretty promising, and Wheel Warlock is one of its primary counters. So Wheel Warlock is really happy to see Flood Paladin come in. That means that Wheel Warlock's long-term prospects are slightly better. But on the other hand, Wheel Warlock has not enjoyed the return of Pain Warlock to the ladder, because Pain Warlock counters Wheel Warlock, and Pain Warlock was kept away by all of those Aggro Demon Hunters. So Wheel Warlock doing okay. One of the decks that people talk about a lot right now is Nature Shaman. Yes, Nature Shaman is back. You thought Nature Shaman died to the nerfs, but I guess it just didn't. Discovering a bunch of crashes of thunder that then cost 0 mana and kill everything, turns out that blasting people away is still a viable strategy. You still have just enough power to kill people, even though Nature Shaman has weaknesses. Some decks are too fast and kill Nature Shaman before it gets to kill people with spells, and some decks like Control Warrior can actually just out-armor Nature Shaman, so you can target it from both directions. But Nature Shaman has been doing surprisingly well. It's seeing a lot of play, especially in very high legend ranks, a little bit less so down in lower ranks because Nature Shaman is one of the most difficult decks to play at the moment, and that's why its recommendation is at number 6. Rainbow Death Knight continues to be the stronger Death Knight archetype, coming in at number 5 now, and Rainbow Death Knight also really happy to see all those new Flood Paladins coming, because Rainbow Death Knight is one of the premium counters that archetype as well. Other than that, Control Warrior, Aggro Demon Hunter, some of its best matchups have become more rare, so you can't find those matchups anymore on the ladder, so you have to do with more mediocre ones. But Rainbow Death Knight is fairly well balanced and doesn't have a lot of weaknesses either, so overall it's a pretty fun deck. It's well rounded, you always have a chance, you have a couple of good matchups too, and that is enough to make it the 5th best deck on the ladder. Then there's the most interesting thing that has happened in Hearthstone meta this week, and that is the return of Paladin. Because Flood Paladin in this specific form has made a comeback to the ladder, and it has a pretty impressive matchup spread, but with limited sample size so far. Because it looks like it's strong against Token Hunters, Zarimi Priests, Pain Warlocks, Nature Shamans, and that's a good chunk of the most popular decks. It might even be the best deck in the game at the moment, but I just don't have the sample size to prove it. The sample size is still fairly small, so if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, then it might be a great time to jump on the Flood Paladin and see if this is your ticket to climb the ranks, because this is not very popular right now, and the limited sample size indicates that this might be an answer to a lot of things currently in the meta. When the Aggro Demon Hunter nerfs were announced, there were 2 decks that immediately stood out, and those were Zarimi Priest and Pain Warlock, with the idea that Zarimi Priest is probably going to become the best deck on the ladder, and Pain Warlock is the premium counter to Zarimi Priest, so it's also going to rise. And to an extent, this prophecy has become true. Pain Warlock indeed is a good counter to Zarimi Priest. Zarimi Priest indeed is very strong and popular, so Pain Warlock consequently is one of the best decks on the ladder right now. So just hurt yourself, get some Molten Giants, make even more Molten Giants, maybe get a Zilliax to heal yourself back up, that sort of stuff. Just good times ahead for Pain Warlock. And then there's the Zarimi Priest, which as expected became one of the strongest decks in the game. Its main weakness Pain Warlock, and now also Flood Paladin has started to challenge it. And it has a bunch of good matchups too, so definitely one of the strongest decks on the ladder. I would have thought this would be the strongest deck, but actually it looks like one deck has been able to utilize the meta even better. And that deck is Spell Token Hunter. Spell Token Hunter has slightly stronger matchup spread than Zarimi Priest has. The matchup between the two is fairly close, so no advantage there. And Spell Token Hunter looks like it's going to rule the ladder, except that Flood Paladin is also coming for this one. So the appearance of Flood Paladin, it's really interesting. If there was no balance patch coming, then the Flood Paladin could alter the balance of the ladder within the next week or so. It might still take more than a week for the next balance patch, so it's possible that we get to see what Flood Paladin is capable of already in this environment before anything changes. But the next balance patch obviously is on the horizon, probably either Thursday or Tuesday. That would be the 9 to 14 days that Blizzard usually has for the balance patch windows. But we'll see. Anyway, Spell Token Hunter right now, an excellent deck for the ladder, with the Black Horse of Flood Paladin that might be worth experimenting with. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.